This is why we have creative slump and how creative slump actually is not real and it's not a thing. And I mean, it is a thing, it's an experience, but it's not actually real. So hear me out now.
If you want to live in a creative way, which will benefit everything in your life, it's all the same. It's more a way of looking at the world and wanting it to be the best it could possibly be.
So I was actually having a hard time coming up with video ideas, and it made me realize that the only reason I had a hard time coming up with a video idea was because there were so many different options of what videos to make. And so I came up with the idea that there is a curse to creativity. Now, I know that sounds very dramatic, but there is a gift and a curse to being a creative person. This is going to be one of my Yap videos, and I've been getting good responses from you guys in the comments on my last two, so I figured I would keep it up. So put this on whenever you are trying to do something, clean up. Maybe you're driving, maybe you are cooking and you need something to stimulate your brain while you're doing another activity. So I assume that's what y'all would be using these videos for. So I'm gonna drop some gems hopefully, and you guys will be able to get use from this. But you see me looking at my phone because I got some topics right here that I wanted to go over, and some of the topics are creative slump, which I feel like we all experience as artists, writer's block, which creative slump and writer's block is kind of the same thing, but being an artist and how creation is a way of life and not just for artists. So got some good topics today. I want to start off with saying that from my perspective as an artist, I think that everybody is an artist, and because of that, I think that, well, first of all, without being religious, I try to take religion out of these videos because not everybody is religious, and neither am I, to be honest. But there are some kind of staple things in the way of life that I feel like just relate to everything. So one of those topics is we are made in the image of creation, or we're made in the image of God. But I like to think of it as creation because honestly, that's really what God power is you are being the ultimate creator. And from our perspectives, we are the creators of our own life. And to relate that to art, it's kind of the same thing. Like basically we are creating art, and then art lives in this space to where other people can come and view it from their perspective. So we all kind of got different life paths, different perceptions, emotions, logic that we bring to the table when we're viewing or perceiving something. So I think that everybody is an artist in a sense to where you just kind of create whatever is happening in your life. Like everything that's ever happened to you in your life, your experience right now, you created it. And I know that there's a lot of people that got this thought process of like things happen to you, but my perspective as just a human being in general is kind of opposite to that. So I actually believe that life happens through you and not to you. So it gives you a lot more control when it comes to what you're creating, and I think that also leads into either everything's life-wise, like whether it's your job, whether it's the people you hang around, whether it's the work that you do, you know what I'm saying? So like it can even be circumstances. Like if you really deeply think about it, all of your circumstances came from some type of creation, whether it was a creation from belief, whether it was things that you learned growing up. Like these all compile into the type of creator and what you start creating, and then you create them and you experience it. So that was a very long-winded way of just relating artistry to everybody's experience, because I know everybody for some reason doesn't think that they're creative and they don't think that they're an artist. But if you take away the perspective of art just being this thing where you like are painting on a canvas, or I don't know, creating music or creating fashion pieces, like art is kind of everything. So that's the first point I wanted to make, because I feel like it leads into everything else that I would be talking about in this video. But to kind of go off of that, how your art performs is actually not controllable once it's out there. This was an issue I had. Well, not that I had. This is an issue that I honestly frequently run into, and I have to remind myself that I gotta drop these expectations. So a lot of control, or issues you have with control, comes with expectations, and your control isn't. It's kind of the same thing I was saying earlier. Like, you have no control of the outside world, you only got control of inside. So if you can keep creating from an inside perspective and putting it outside and letting the outside thing be its own thing without you trying to control it, I think you'll have a better experience as an artist. And I'm going to give you a direct example of myself that is why I struggle with controlling how my art is either perceived or performs. And it's based off of social media. So y'all know that I do social media basically full time now, which I guess is kind of part-time. I also run a brand part-time. But like, the issue I run into frequently as an artist in these type of mediums is wanting to control how my art is perceived or how it performs. So maybe you guys can relate to this, but oftentimes as artists, we put so much personal things into our art when we're creating it, and then when we put it out there, we want other people to experience what it felt like to create that art. And the issue with that is people have so many other different perspectives and different things that they put art through when it comes to filtering, that oftentimes the people who need to relate to your art is not going to be this big scale thing. Now, sometimes it might be, and honestly, we never really have control over how that looks, but the struggle comes into play of when we're like, okay, I just took these pictures and they're really, really fire, and I want to share them to Instagram, right? And then you share them to Instagram and it doesn't perform as well as you wanted it to. Like, it doesn't get as many likes, it doesn't get as many views, and it kind of, the more you look at it and the more you pay attention to it, it kind of makes you as an artist feel like, dang, nobody was rocking with that joint I just put out. Like, I thought this was so fire and I shared it, and now people ain't really rocking with it the way I wanted to do, you know what I'm saying? So that is a bit of a struggle that at least I know artists go through, because I go through it. And if you can keep creating from a space from within and just let the outside world do its thing, bro, the people that's supposed to gravitate towards whatever you're creating are going to gravitate towards it. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that you have to do. The only thing you got to control is the output and the creation itself. So keep creating things that are authentic. Don't switch your creation in order to match the outside world. Keep creating from inside. I know it sounds kind of cliche, but like, that's the only thing that's going to make sense, bro. And it's going to keep your artwork authentic. And then long term, you'll realize how much you benefited and how much it was better to just create from the inside. Because it's kind of like when music artists try to make hits for mainstream or like pop or something like that, we can always tell. You know what I'm saying? We can always tell when you made this song so that it would do well on TikTok or it would get played on the radio. And sometimes it works. I'm not going to say it don't work. But then it's like, once you discover this artist and see the music that feels natural to them, that's when you really become a fan. That's first topic, very long-winded. Also, a lot of y'all have been telling me to make these videos longer. I've been making them like 15 minutes-ish, and people have been saying make these like 20 to 30 so they can just like put it on and chill. But to get into the next topic, I have, if you want to control something, control your aim. And this kind of leads off of the topic I was just talking about of control. And honestly, the only thing you can control is not only yourself, but when it comes to filtering ideas and what ideas you should act upon, if you focus on your aim, it makes it a little bit easier to choose things. And let me make this make sense, right? Walk with me here. So if you're like me, you have a million ideas at once, and that can kind of be difficult to filter through. But while you're having a million ideas, you also know, well, maybe you don't know, but it's easier to narrow and aim at something when you have a bigger idea and you can envision the end. So that's something that I've been practicing lately is if you have an idea, make it as big of an idea as possible. Like make it the most exciting idea as possible. That way, not only will you get geeked out to go do something, but you'll have like an end goal vision, right? And try to create and match that vision as close as possible. Don't make it be that, but try to follow or act as if you were that already. So it can be easier to aim at something. So like when you I'm trying to think of an example I could give to y'all that would make sense. But like, let's say you want to be a clothing brand owner. This is a good example, right? Let's say you want to be a clothing brand owner. Instead of just like creating something just for the sake of creating it, like let's just say you want like don't just make a random t-shirt. What you should do is start off with the end goal. What does yourself as the ultimate clothing brand owner look like? What is that? What do they do? What type of brand is it? These bigger picture type of things. Do that first, and then you'll have something to aim at. You'll have a target to shoot at. That way you're just not like shooting your gun in the dark and you just hopefully it hits a random target. Like pick your target. Then all the random ideas you'll have, you'll start to be able to filter them and be like, yo, does this match my target? Like, is this in the right direction of my target? And then you can kind of get rid of things that don't match. It makes it so much easier to come up with things and just go about an idea, bro. And I like I said, this is something that I'm practicing right now as an individual, but it makes it so much easier because you'll find out that oftentimes you'll have an idea that might be a cool idea, but it just don't align, and it might not be worth the energy of doing. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're just really excited about it. But that's one of the topics I got. What we got next, bro? The next topic I have is connect with yourself, and usually your audience will find you. And this is kind of wrapping up everything that I've been talking about here, and it's just the idea of just creating from within. And when you're creating from within, it's almost like you're having a conversation with yourself, and then like-minded individuals will start coming around you. Have you guys ever experienced like effortless connections? Like think about some of the friends that you have that the first day y'all met, you just clicked, bro, because it was just y'all both was being yourself. Y'all was just authentic. This can be friendships, there can be relationships. Like if y'all have ever experienced when you meet a girl and it just makes sense because like y'all just click, y'all just get it on this different level and it's authentic. Or if you just have, I've recently experienced this where I've created a piece of art or a piece of content or a piece of just anything, and it started to just gravitate people instantly. Like I'll give y'all an example. I just made a video about cool people problems, and I put it on Instagram, and the video was literally one of the easiest videos I've ever made in my entire content creation career. The video was just me showing my heel drag of my pants, and I can relate to that video because all of my pants looked crazy at the bottom just because I like to wear baggy pants, I like to wear long pants, and that video, as long as the video is as long as it took me to make. I ended up putting a caption, posting it on Instagram, and it now has 1 million views. So little things like that to where it's like, yo, life ain't as difficult as we really make it seem, and making art really isn't as difficult as we make it seem as long as you just keep being authentic. If you can just drop these crazy like expectations of how it has to perform, usually it performs better, bro. Or if it don't perform good, like, just forget about it and go to the next thing. You know it was a part of your plan already, so just create it, let it live in its world, and just go on about your day. Create something else. You have the power to just create all the time, and it's so crazy that we don't tap into it. But create things for yourself or to help yourself, and it usually will help others and attract the audience you're supposed to attract. So that's that topic. Probably the last and the most important thing I wanted to go over is creative slump. This is one that I feel like we all go through as artists, bro. If you haven't been in a creative slump, I kind of feel like you just, I don't know, bro. You don't really be creating for real. But this is why we have creative slump and how creative slump actually is not real and it's not a thing. And I mean, it is a thing, it's an experience, but it's not actually real. So hear me out now. As an artist, the reason you go through creative slump is simply because you're making things that you personally do not like, or you don't like them in the moment. That leads to you thinking that you are not good as an artist, which isn't true. You are a cold artist. The way that you get out of this slump, bro, is to just create without expectations. I feel like a broken record when I say this, but just create for the sake of creating. This will allow you to create without having to feel like you got to put something out, without having to feel like it got to perform well. Just create for the sake of creating. Make something just to make it, bro. Make an outfit just to make an outfit. Go make up a design just for the sake of a design. Go paint a picture just for the sake of painting a picture, without being like, yo, I gotta make the next best thing. Stop feeling like you gotta make the next best thing, bro. You don't have to change the game with every outfit you got. I honestly have this problem when I'm making YouTube videos. Like, sometimes I'll be like, dang, how can I make this video to where it does better than the last video I made? Or it's just a better video than the last video I made. Like, bro, just chill out and just make a video. Like, even when it comes to videos like this, like, I be making hardcore editing videos, bro, to where I gotta chop it up, I gotta put B-roll over it. Sometimes all it takes for you to just put the camera up and press record, bro. Like, it's as simple as that. And then, after you make your creation, you can filter it later, bro. Just because you make something don't mean you gotta put it out, gang. Like, you can create things at an unlimited pace if you just create them and then go filter them later. It don't gotta be this insane thing, bro. So, yeah, man. That's pretty much all I got for the curse of creativity. And I know this really wasn't like a bad video, which it might have seemed like it from the title, but yeah, creating is a gift and a curse because you can experience these things that seem like a curse, where it's like creative slump or decision fatigue or something like that. But if you look at it from the perspective of being allowed to create and being able to create all the time, it's also a gift, because you can just make whatever you want and get whatever experience you were looking to have. So it's all perspective, it's all perception, and I think that's it for the video, bro. I'm kind of like gassed out with just thought process. I don't make these videos sometimes because I try to make topics, and this is like this sounds so crazy as somebody who's like giving the solutions to the problems, and I still have the problems as I'm speaking it. But yeah, sometimes I don't make these videos because I get winded, and maybe it don't matter. Maybe I could just make these shorter videos, but sometimes like carrying a thought process for like 30 minutes at a time sometimes it don't work for me, bro. So yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore, which is why I'm ending the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Follow me on my other social medias if you want to see my life and my creations lived out in real time. So that's Instagram, that is here on YouTube, that is sometimes I'll be using Threads. What else I'll be using? TikTok. Like, go follow me on those platforms, bro. But other than that, man, I'm out this joint. Peace.